Hi, Glam Fam. I just wanted to talk just a little bit about how my nursing background intersects with my photo booth owner uh, business together. So recently, I have on my heart to do an event for trauma victims. And let me just give you a little bit of background so you'll understand why it's so passionate to me. Back when COVID first hit, probably in 2020, I believe, somewhere around that area, I had what they call long COVID. And during that time, I was really, really sick. And I was sick for about 3 months and probably really close to death. But by the grace of God, I was able to pull through. And what I did not realize during that time is how much trauma that I endured. But not only me enduring the trauma, but those around me that watched me go through this endured trauma. And because many of us in this community don't realize that we have trauma, we're not dealing with it. So let me start with me. So with me, those things happen. And one of the major things that I can remember during that time, I was in and out of the hospital a lot. But one of the major things that happened is I had pneumonia several times that I couldn't get rid of. And I would have aching in my back. So I have a jacuzzi at my house and I would like to get in the jacuzzi. And it was hot during that time. So I would, but I was so weak, somebody would have to go out with me. And nobody wanted to be out there in that hot sun um, for me to get in the jacuzzi. So one day they took me out there and they left me out there. I was in the jacuzzi getting some relief in my back from the jets hitting my back. And as I got out, because I was so weak, I sat on the side. I'm out of the jacuzzi, but I'm sitting on the side of the jacuzzi and I could feel myself getting ready to pass out. I hope this is not too much information, but I need you to understand the passion behind this trauma that I'm getting ready to tell you about. And so I, as I feel myself passing out, my first instinct was to yell to get someone's attention because they had went back in the house and I was out there by myself. I did, and I passed out and flipped back in the jacuzzi. When I flipped back into the jacuzzi, someone, by the grace of God, heard me. They came outside, and it was my 13-year-old goddaughter. She pulled me, I think she was 13, 14. She pulled me out of the jacuzzi, and I wasn't allowed, of course, to be out there by myself anymore. But this is where the trauma comes in. A lot of what I was going through, I'm dealing with what I know on the inside, but I don't see what others see. So I'm traumatized by what I'm actually feeling, not being able to breathe, the pneumonia, all these things is passing out. My husband was finding me on the floor when I go to the bathroom and picking me up, all of these things. So, but I'm not seeing what they see. I only see what I see, but I'm traumatized by that. And one day I wanted to go out again to get in a jacuzzi. And I think it was my daughter asked my goddaughter who had pulled me out of that water before to take me out there. And she said, she didn't say anything. She just started boo-hoo crying. And I understood that she was traumatized by what she had saw and what she had to do. And I said, no, that's okay. Meanwhile, time passed. I healed. I got better. I went back to work. Well, I healed physically. I went back to work. But I noticed I was different. I noticed that I was a workaholic. I never wanted to be still. I would work till I passed out. And I didn't realize that there was a problem there at that time. I just thought that's the way I'm coping with things. Until one day I had a break and I realized I'm not okay. And I ended up going to get counseling, but this is the bottom line. I was traumatized. And not only was I traumatized, but the ones around me, my daughter, my husband, and my goddaughter who watched this, they were traumatized. Because after I began to get better, they began to tell their stories and start spewing out what they felt, those things that they were holding in before I got better. And my husband said to me one day, he said, when I took time off from work during the COVID, I didn't take it off from me. I took it off from you. I was so worried. I would sit there and watch you breathe. I thought you were going to stop breathing. That's trauma. My goddaughter crying because she had to go outside with me getting in the jacuzzi. That's trauma. My daughter explaining to me what she felt and the way I looked during that time. That's trauma. What I was going through, not being able to go to sleep at night, but working until I just pass out. And if it took me 2 days to pass out because I'm just going, that's trauma. So when I had that break and I went to see a counselor, I just began, I'm a talker anyway and a social person. I just began to talk about what I was feeling and everything. And she said to me, and I'm saying this for a reason, so please pay attention. I hope this helps somebody. She said to me, what are you running from? And I was like, running from. And I thought for a minute, and I said, I guess my thoughts. It's playing over and over in my head that my husband said, I watched you because I thought you were going to stop breathing. Whatever I felt about how close I was to death, what everybody else was telling me they saw. So I guess it was those thoughts, and I don't know why, but that's how trauma works. It just, if you don't deal with it, it eats you up inside. And so that's what happened. And because of the counseling, of course, I got better. But once I saw that trauma was my problem, then it could be dealt with. And then God began to show me that there are a lot of people out here that are dealing with trauma and don't even know it. How can you heal from something that you don't even know you have? And so out of this, God began to show me different people in the community, in the city that had trauma. And trauma comes in all different forms. Trauma comes from PTSD, maybe from war, from molestation, from severe poverty. You have these young people that said that they didn't have anything, they sold drugs, or they did this, or they were looking for love in the gangs or whatever. And the root of all of that is trauma, because they didn't have what they need, so they went somewhere else to get it. But instead of the healing, instead of, because you don't know that's what's wrong. But trauma affects a lot of people. PTSD, molestation, severe poverty, near-death experiences. I could go on and on, but trauma affects a lot of people. You think about the trauma that drug addicts have, whether they have it before that that leads them to the drugs or during the time that they're on the drugs. But trauma affects a lot of people. And if we can get deliverance and healing from trauma, then we can have more unity in this city. And that is what's been on my heart. So therefore, out of that was birthed my desire to do a trauma event here in Jacksonville. So I have gathered together many people who specialize in trauma, but also people who provide a relief from, so you'll have the resources to deal with your trauma, but also you have the resources of laughter, you have the resources of prayer, you have the resources of art and crafts and different things of that nature. But first, we're going to identify the trauma at this event. So I'm saying all this to say, in June of 2026 at A. Philip Randolph Park in the downtown area near our Alltel Stadium, we will be having a trauma event. There'll be games, and it's a family-oriented event because trauma can come in any age group. And this is near and dear to my heart because I've experienced it personally. I've even asked the mayor if she would be willing to come out. So if you're interested, if you know anybody that's dealing with trauma, if you know anybody can benefit from laughter or even some mental health resources, come out to that event. You're going to hear more about it. I can't advertise it yet until the city has approved my advertisements. But I'm telling you now, come out and enjoy the event and get some resources, get some help, and there'll be more to come. Thank you for listening to me for a few minutes.